Okay, I'm assuming we're on. Good morning, everyone. This is Zenith with Gardening Mindfully. Now, I do not like to go live, but I'd like to show you guys what I'm seeing in my backyard. Let me turn the camera around. We have snow, but it's mostly ice. It's about 3 inches deep. So I just wanted to show you guys everything is covered. It is white out here. Look at that. I'm going to show you my shoe prints. There you go. I'm going to walk around and I'm going to show you the plants. Now, I'm in zone 8A in Georgia. And even though they had predicted that we would have snow, I really didn't expect us to want to get the snow and to get this much. But look, everything is covered in snow. Now you might be thinking this is bad, but I think snow is a great thing for the garden. Depending on where you are, it can be catastrophic. For us here, I think it's a good thing for several reasons. One, snow is good for insulation. It will insulate your plants and it will insulate your plants and protect them from freezing temperatures and also from harsh winds. So it's a great source of insulation for plants. So that's number one. Over there is my garden shed. Let me zoom in. I know a lot of these things I haven't shown before because my yard is a work in progress. I have a stash over there of bagged mulch. So I'll take you guys in and you'll be seeing most of my garden in a whole different light. So I have a circle garden here that I haven't shown because it's a work in progress, but I do have some daffodils and some other spring bulbs planted here that I'm going to show in the spring once they start to bloom. But we were talking about the benefits of snow. The second benefit of snow is that the second is that it provides moisture. So it is protecting the plants. Oh, here I have 12 blueberry bushes, and here we have a row, and this is Vernon. So as I mentioned, I have not introduced any of these plants to you guys before because I've been waiting and just really busy adding everything to the garden. So I have a row of 3 Vernon blueberry bushes, and I have a row of 3 varieties. It's alpaca right here, blue. So you'll see that's powder blue blueberries. So I have them marked. So see, we have the 3 powder blue there. We have the other 3 alpaca or alfalfa is the pronunciation, correct pronunciation. And then we have the 3 Vernon over here. See a row of 3, 1, 2, 3. And then back here is where I have the fig trees that you saw me plant in a video. So this one is a black mission fig. This is just so much fun for me, oh my gosh. So this is a black mission fig. You can hardly see the name there, but that's a black mission. And then I had planted an Olympian and a brown turkey. Here's another one of the powder blue. So I just planted them in the fall. Here's the brown turkey fig, and then here's the Olympian. That's the Olympian fig. All right. And then I also have some apple and peaches. Let's walk over before we go into the garden. I have pomegranate as well. So I just put in this apple tree, and this is a gala. I just planted this last week. And no, I did not do a video because a lot of the times I'm just in a hurry in between work and personal life, getting everything in and taking a video takes a lot of time. So the snow is still coming down, but I'm having so much fun out here. I just love it. So this is my gala apple tree. And back here, I have another apple tree, and this is a crisp pink. Yep, crisp pink. So I took the time to mark them because as time goes by, you tend to forget what you have. So this one I had inside of my garden bed, inside of my I have an area that I have enclosed that I was protecting from deers before I got the property fenced, and I had it there just until I had a chance to plant it outside in the landscape. So I moved this from that area to where it will get enough space to grow back in, I believe, November. So I have these two apple trees. I also have over here a Red Haven peach tree. And you might have seen this before in a video or several videos that I did with when I was talking about my squash and pumpkins and my watermelon. It was actually in a container, again in that space that I had that I was protecting everything from deer. So now that I have the property fenced, I'm able to move it out. And the reason for moving it out here is because you want to put them in a spot where they have enough space to grow. So this is my Red Haven peach. And I have more, guys. I think I have a total of 3 peaches. And I still have more that I'm going to plant. So this is a peach it's a seedling that I got from my neighbor after my neighbor particular peach tree, either Beckford peach or something. I know exactly what variety it is. So it is, for the time being, it's Beck. Back here I have a row. I'm not even going to show you guys this, but I'm going to show you anyway. So when I was cleaning up the property this summer, we had a lot, like a brush pile that was just too large to get out in the garbage. And so we have it here. And the idea is in the spring we'll do like a burning, and I'll be able to use that as compost. So did not put it out in the trash. It was way too much. Besides, I like to keep everything on the property so we can use it. So that will be a burn pile, and I'll add it to my compost. And over here, I have a pile of different pieces of wood from when we had the trees removed, trees taken down, so we could put in all of these fruit trees and berries. We removed, gosh, maybe 20 pine trees, and we had it mulched. And this pile here were the bigger pieces. And so I didn't throw these away. Again, I'll use these as compost, so I'll fill my raised garden beds, and I have a few gardens containers that I will be using these in the bottom to create what's called a hugelkultur garden. So as these break down over time, it will help the soil. So that's why that's there. So we try not to throw anything away unless we have to. But it does look kind of ugly. But there is a reason for us keeping it there. So anyway, back here, I'm towards the back now, along my the back fence line, and I have a row of three raspberry bushes. So this one is called Fall Gold, and the Fall Gold is a yellow raspberry. And this raspberry actually has thorns. But the reason I did not go with a thornless is because I like the idea of having a yellow as opposed to red raspberry. So this is my raspberry bush. And I also have two, I think this variety is called Glencoe. And the reason for this Glencoe, it's red, but I like the fact that it is thornless. So I can pick berries and not worry about being eaten up by thorns. So I like to have things that are in odd numbers. So I tend to have three of different things, except for my apple tree. I have two, and I have a third one that I'm getting that I'll be planting soon. So I have one Glencoe raspberry there, and I have another one here. So you'll notice I have a row of three raspberries. Let me see if I can get that. So there's my row of three raspberries. Starting with the one closer to me, another Glencoe in the middle, and then I have the Fall Gold. Now we're gonna go into, now I think I have, what is it? Pomegranate. I think I have a couple pomegranates out here as well. So this is one pomegranate here that I did put in this fall as well. So this year will be the fourth year. So in July of 2025, we'll be here 4 years. So I have been steadily adding to the garden and just developing the whole space. So we have a total of 1 acre. And believe you me, I'm afraid to tell anyone how much it costs just to remove trees. Now I'm in the area that my neighbor enclosed for me. This is again before we did put up the fence along our property. My neighbor had created this space for me, which is where I have all of my containers, my compost pile, and here's that garden bed where I planted the Swiss chard and the broccoli that also had my marigolds. So the marigolds went over, which I knew would happen, but I have eaten Swiss chard already, and my broccoli has been coming up. So there are benefits to having snow, but there are also cons as well. And so one of it I'm going to show you here where snow does get heavy, and when it gets heavy, it can create a problem because it's the weight. So you're seeing something here. You see the dip? Oh, this is frozen. This is really cool. Wow. But this is not major. This is not a major con for me. No problem at all. It's not a big structure. So it's not like a house or a shed or a barn. So I'm good. And here are two of the broccolis. You see them here. Another con is the snow can tend to freeze your tender plants. So one con is the weight, and the second one is the cold weather might not be the best for some tender plants and vegetables. But this one broccoli actually was started to crown. Let's see if we can remove this snow, and you can see my broccoli is crowning. Not sure if you can see that, but there it is. The broccoli is forming. Look at that. I hope you can see that. Awesome. But my kale under here, let's pick this up so if you can see my kale. See, my kale is still looking good. It's not frozen. Now, kale is a lot more tender. No, I'm sorry, not kale. This is Swiss chard. So you can see my Swiss chard. It's a lot more tender than kale. I think kale does better in cold temperatures. Kale and carrots does better than Swiss chard. But look how beautiful. Wow. So I do have a few more leaves I can harvest, and that is really exciting. Okay, let's keep going. So again, it's still snowing, so we'll have more snow that will cover my broccoli, and that will continue growing. Here in the garden, I have another pomegranate, and I didn't mention pomegranate that I have, not pomegranate. Why am I saying pomegranate? It's persimmon. So I have a persimmon out there. I do have a pomegranate, but what we looked at earlier was actually a persimmon, not a pomegranate. This is a Fuya persimmon, which is the same variety I have out there. And I don't think I have done a video on this persimmon as yet. Now this persimmon I planted in the fall of 2021 when we moved in. And so I am hoping that we will have fruits this year. If not this year, 2025, certainly in 2026, it should start producing fruit. So it's a pretty decent size. It's about 4.5 feet tall. And I have a container here that I don't think I have anything growing in here yet. I know I added some compost, and I just wanted the compost to rot down so it will be ready for planting in the spring. So that's an empty container. It's cold out here. My nose is starting to run. These two containers, and let me tell you, these blueberries, oh my gosh, I got so many blueberries in the spring of 2024, but the birds beat me to it. So I have a plan for those birds this year. For this variety is called powder blue. So this is a powder blue. So the reason it's called powder blue is because of the color of the berries. It's really like a pale blue, like a powder blue actually. So that's how we got the name of that variety. And this one is Brightwell. Okay, and again, I do have netting that I purchased as Christmas gifts to myself because I'm not going to allow the birds to deny me from enjoying my blueberry harvest in 2025. Okay, I'm gonna spin you guys around and I'm going to show you, not sure you can see, but I have a row of blackberries. Oh my goodness. These blackberries produce so much for me in 2024. I know I have to do much better with trellising them, which is the reason I did not do a video. But we probably got about 30 pounds of blackberries. I only started out with 2, and I was able to give like 2 bushes to my sister in New York because they can grow blackberries there. She did not know that until I was in New York and saw her neighbors growing blackberries. And I said, well, if your neighbor's growing blackberries, just how to pronounce that. But that's the variety of blackberry. And this one produced a lot more than the other variety, which think is called the Apache. The Apache was not as fruitful as this variety. And so, one thing with these berries is that they will sucker. If the vine hits the ground, they will most likely root. So, I actually have some volunteers here from the vines hitting the ground, but I'm hoping to come up with a pretty good trellis system to keep them off the ground. And I have not done that yet because all of the gardening I do by myself unless I'm able to beg my neighbor to come over and give me some muscle power. So I've already been to what's the name of the Tractor Supply, and I'll be getting some 7 foot tall posts because what I have here, these are 4 feet tall, and of course they go down maybe like 1 foot, so to it's not tall enough, and so I just need to figure out how to get those here and when my neighbor will have time to help me to build this trellis. But I am looking forward to this project in 2025. Over here, I have another raised garden bed, and this is the garden bed that I planted the asparagus in. And I did not make a video of me putting asparagus bed to bed for the winter, which basically I did cut them back and then added mulch just to keep them covered. But of course now we have the snow that's providing more protection for them. Over here I have another blueberry, and I think this is also a Brightwell. Now this did not produce as much for me in 2024, and I planted them the same time as I did the two that are in those containers. But the two in the containers were better producers, and I can tell you why. The reason the blueberries in the containers were better producers was because I was able to make the soil that they needed. So they do need acidic soil, and I do have a video where I prepared the soil for those two containers to plant my blueberries. And I think I really got that mixture pretty good. I have to say, because they were heavy producers. So they produced a lot more berries than the ones that I have in the ground. So this one I think is a Brightwell. I have another one over here. So even though they're larger than the ones in the ones in the containers did really well. So they did much better. Now, if you notice another thing too with these blueberries, they held their leaves. So this, is something to remember. If you're growing blueberries and you're in a colder temperature, they won't necessarily lose their leaves. And what I like about seeing them in the garden this time of the year is that the leaves are like a cherry red. And I know you can't see that here, but oh, it is beautiful to look outside and see that color in the garden. And I love color in the garden. Now here I also have now this is the persimmon. So this is the Russian persimmon. I did a video on this in 2023. I had it in a container for about 6 months, and then I planted it here. So this is the Russian pomegranate. It's this Salavatsky. Yeah, that's the variety. And I have some containers here. In this container, I planted, I think it was garlic. Is it garlic or onion? I lost my tag. So I know it was on December 18th. I think it was onions. So I planted onions here from onion sets, which are the seed onions. So I'm looking forward to that growing. And over here, I had planted in this container here, I had planted Swiss chard. This is a white Swiss chard that I planted from seeds. Now it looks like it got frozen. I'm not going to open that. That Swiss chard looks like it got frost bitten. See how it's kind of yellow? No, I don't think you can see that. But it looks like it got frost bitten. So the netting is to protect it from bugs. In this container, I also have onions that I planted on December 18th of 2024. Covered underneath the snow here, I do have asparagus growing in between these containers. So they're covered under there in snow. In this container, I also have Swiss chard, the white Swiss chard that I started from seeds. And I also have kale. I have kale in another container. I'm not sure which container, but I also have kale that I started from seed. But the kale does better than Swiss chard. They hold up better in the cold weather. So they're not as tender as the Swiss chard. In this container also have Swiss chard. So I love Swiss chard. I'm telling on myself. So underneath here, you see that brown speck? That's hay, that's cuts. You see? I have it covered. I did cut it back, covered it up with straw. And then we have another layer of protection, which is the snow. Also in this cage, I have asparagus. So a lot of these, I don't really make a video because I'm always busy just between home and work, adding everything, and it takes time to do the videos. And then over here, these containers I have out to capture snow and rain. Not a benefit of snow, it, it captures nitrogen from the air as a. So I love to use the water on my house plants. And so these buckets, when the snow melts, it will provide moisture or water that I can use on my house plants. And then also when the snow melts, it will provide moisture. I did a video was planting this peach tree. Now I know I do have the wrong tag on this one. I think the name I have on here is a bonfire, but it's not actually a bonfire. This is the Bonanza peach. And so I do know that I will need to create another tag for this. So this is my Bonanza peach. And this was also very fruitful in 2024, but the birds got them. And so I do have a plan also for the birds. I did purchase like a big net that has the zipper, and I will be sure to make sure, using double words there, sure to make sure, I'll be sure to cover the peach tree so I can enjoy some of the peaches myself and it doesn't all go to the birds. Okay, so I'm gonna show you my line of blackberries. So there's my blackberries in a line along the back of the property. And now I'm gonna spin you around and show you towards the front, down by the house. And Give you almost like a 360 here. So over here on the other side of this fencing area is where I have the fig trees. So I have a line of 3 fig trees over there. So we're gonna walk back. Oh, you here I have my compost pile. I love composting. Just absolutely love it. So most of the debris that we get from the garden, I pile it here and I turn it ever so often. It is not covered because I also like to make sure that it gets moisture. Now, we don't want it to have too much water, so at some point I'll put a tarp on it and keep it covered. But for now, it's okay getting some water. And in the spring, I will turn it. Now, this barrel I have here that you've seen in videos, it has rainwater and it's a source of water for the garden. It is full right now, which is the reason it is covered. Otherwise, it would be open. And the one thing I need to do is to go to the shed and get some more buckets so I can have more water for my houseplants. Because I do have quite a bit of houseplants. And one day when I'm brave enough, I will give you a tour of my sunroom. So I have a sunroom with my tropical plants, and then I have other plants on the inside of the house. So I stay quite busy with plants. I love being outdoors and I love, being in the soil, and that comes from my roots. I'm not sure, I've never really shared, but I am Jamaican. I was born and raised in Jamaica, so I tend to love being outside and just playing in dirt. It's my happy place, my happy place. So I probably need to fault my parents because both of my parents, my dad, did the fruits and vegetables, and my mom was the one that was always into the flowers, the pretty part of gardening. And so I actually got that from both of them. So we're gonna turn back around and look at the garden. I know the lighting is not great, but this is what we have. And I'm gonna give you guys a 360. And this is already over 30 minutes, but I'm gonna take some time and walk towards the front and let you guys see the gardens that I have around the house. I started planting by the shed, but I don't have a whole lot yet. I've just really started. So, as I mentioned, a lot of this I don't really have videos because it takes. Okay, we had lost signal for a bit. I think because it's too cold, I'm gonna sit this down so I can put my gloves on, and we'll take a quick trip out front. Gosh, it's cold. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna walk around the front quickly. So we're passing by my sunroom. We're gonna go out front. Oh wow, these came through like a champ. Wow, I did a video on this plant. Here we go. I have 2 containers by this entrance, and they are looking good. See how much the snow has insulated those plants? Wow. And this garden bed, I did a video when, I think it was in the spring. But I've always done videos on this garden bed. I love this half circle garden. Absolutely love it. We have, this is a June magnolia. This is a Japanese magnolia. This is, I think, Alexandrina. Yeah, that one, it has buds on it. I'm going to show you that it has buds. And so this is a spring bloomer. So it should be blooming in the spring. So everything is not mature because, again, we have only been here maybe about 3 years. So I have a row of 3. Here we go with 3 again. I just love the gold color when everything else is green or brown. Nice gold color. So I'm on the driveway, and so we have 3 on this side as well. And these will be about 6 feet tall when they are fully mature. And I started these when they were in a 1-gallon container because I don't buy expensive plants. Plants are expensive enough, and so I don't buy them mature. So these I did put in the spring of 2022, and they have really grown. Here I have a Japanese maple, and that is coral. I forgot coral. I don't remember the exact name. Oh, I can't believe I forgot that name. That is one of my favorite Japanese maples. Oh, I lost the tag on that one. I lost the tag. But you see the red stems in the fall and the winter months, when it loses its leaves, the stems and the trunk, everything turns red. So I love that. Over here, again, I'm walking across the drive, the lawn, and I have 2 island garden beds. And I'm pretty sure if you guys have watched a number of my videos, you've seen these before. And so I have 5 arborvitaes, and I think these are Prince. Gosh, I'm just stumped that I can't remember the name of these plants. And I do love plants and I know the names, but doing this video, somehow I forgot the name. I also planted, you'll notice that I have a lot of forks, some plastic utensils. I'm not trying to grow plastic forks. I have marked the spot where I planted spring bulbs. So the reason for marking this spot is when I try to go back, because once you plant the bulbs on the ground, you can't see anything. You don't know they're there. So I tend to do things from time to time, not necessarily all at the same time. So by marking the spot, if I find something else and decide to come out to add it to the garden, I don't dig up an area where I've already planted something. So that's the reason for those. In the middle, this plant in the middle, this is, okay, I am being stumped right now, and I'm not exactly sure, but I love this arborvitae also because of the color. In the wintertime, it turns this bright yellow or like a gold color, and I love that. So you'll notice I like color. Then in this bed, I also have, actually in this bed, they are not twin sisters. They're actually sisters, but not identical twins. So this garden bed, I have 3 rose bushes, which I don't have in that bed, but it does have the same plant in the center. I also have 3 butterfly bushes here, which I don't have in the other garden bed. So here's one of the butterfly bushes. I did cut them back in December. There's a second one over there, and then I have the third one. So I tend to do things in threes or fives. So I have 3 butterfly bushes, and I have 3 rose bushes, and these are not shrub roses. These are the ones that grows lower to the ground. And so they don't get really high or really tall. And then I also have some phlox in here, and that's what's being covered there. And these, when they bloom in the spring, they are more of a blue color. So you'll see I have a number of them in this garden bed and also in that one over there. So the similarity between both of these are this phlox, Phlox. And here I have another one of those Japanese maples, and this is much larger than the one on the other side. And I've lost the tag as well. See the tag? So for these two, I'll need to prepare new tags. So this one, it was pretty expensive, and so I really didn't want to spend the money to get the same size as the one on the other side. I just kind of assume that they will eventually meet up to each other, and so that's what I decided to do. All right, so we're coming around to the other side of the house, which is the opposite side from the driveway. So when we come in, this is the first part we see. So this is the east side of the house. The house faces north. So this is the east side. And this is where I plant all of my amaryllis bulbs after they're finished blooming. So when I have them blooming on the inside, I take them outside and I plant them in this garden bed. So we do have a small gate on this side as well. And so you can see back there in the back. I have a container here, and this one I will take care of this in the spring. So I'll remove all of the plants that are dead and freshen it up in the spring. So it's okay. So getting closer, my toes are kind of getting frosty now. So back here, that green you're seeing, that is actually agapanthus. And this brown here that you're seeing, those are my amaryllis bulbs that will be blooming in the summer. So they are forced to bloom on the inside during the fall and winter months. And then when you plant them outside in the spring, they will bloom in the summer. Maybe not the same summer, but definitely the following summer. So sometimes they'll need, just time to get acclimated and to grow roots. So they may not flower in the summer of the year that you plant them in the ground, but they will bloom the following summer. And again, you'll notice I have forks there. That's because I have daffodils planted there. And then I also have, this is actually green onion that I have growing here, and you'll see that it's doing quite well. Doing quite well. So the garden is doing well. I'm really pleased because we have come a long way in 3 short years. We moved in July of 2021 and started planting, I think, in August or September. Before I unloaded boxes on the indoors, I started planting. So you'll notice I have more forks under there because I have daffodils. Here's some more forks. Not sure you can see them. And these plants, these are Francis Mason abelias. And boy, when they bloom, they show out. I have not cut these back yet. Normally I would have done it in the fall, but I'll cut them back in the spring. And so you see how they bloom? Yes, past blooming, but it is beautiful. And I love I think the reason why I didn't cut them back is because the leaves turn like a red, gold color. It's like a autumnal colors this time of the year. So it does provide some color and it's not just looking bland out here. So the snow is providing a lot of protection for these plants, making sure that they're protected from freezing temperatures and also from harsh winds. So I'm coming across the front of the house now. Oh, and I do see I have daffodils coming up. Those are daffodils that were not planted this year. See that green? Those blades of green coming up almost looks like grass. Now those are daffodils. So daffodils are starting to come up, and these were the ones that were planted several years ago. Look at my little stone pineapple. That was a gift from a friend. Nancy, if you're watching. Yeah, Nancy normally watches my videos. So here I have a Japanese maple in a container. I'll be planting this in the ground as soon as I figure out where I'd like it planted. Also have 3 of those rose bushes here. 1, 2, 3. And coming up to the front door. I hardly do videos on this side because I'm generally in the back. So I haven't taken down everything from Christmas yet. So that was my Christmas container for the front door. I did take my Christmas wreath down, switched it out already. And then over here, looking towards the front, I hope you guys can still see. I have no clue. But it's beautiful out here. It is beautiful. Everything is white and beautiful. I'm going to go back in now because it's really cold. So I think it's about 30 degrees out. And the snow is starting to melt. I'll actually do a video in the springtime on these garden beds in the front because they are actually beautiful in the springtime. They are very beautiful in the springtime. I have a lot of bulbs that come up here. And then I normally will have plants on this patio here, but again, they're tender plants. So I move them indoors in my sunroom. I have another Japanese maple here, and this one is red dragon. Yeah, that's the red dragon. That one I kept the tag. And the one in the container over there, I think that's a Tamukiyama. So these Italian cypresses I will be moving as well. I have 5 along the front here, and for some reason I'm not able to get them to grow upright. They're wanting to fall over for whatever reason it is, no matter how much I try to stake them. So I'll be moving those to greener pastures in 2025 in the spring. And so you'll notice now, if you can still see, that everything is starting to melt. Okay, folks, thank you so much for following along. I'm not sure if you're still there or the video is still recording, but this is Zenith with Gardening Mindfully, and I just wanted to show you that we have snow, or nature's mulch. There we go. Snow is also beneficial for seed germination. There are certain native plants that requires a period of what's called stratification, and if they are planted in the ground, or some people just throw them on the snow, on the ground while it's snowing or before it snows, the snow helps it to make better contact with the soil. And it goes through that period that is called stratification. So snow is good for that as well. But it is beautiful to see. It is nature's mulch. I love the fact that once it's melted, I can use that water with the nitrogen that's in that water. The snow captures the nitrogen that's in the air when it falls to the ground. And that nitrogen is great for, our plants. That's the reason rainwater is great for our plants, because it contains all that good nutrients that it collects from the air as it's falling to the ground. So I hope you guys enjoy this live. I normally don't do live videos, but I was so excited to see the snow. So anyway, have a great day, everyone. And if you are in an area where you are seeing snow, I hope it is not causing any damage, and that you will be able to reap some of the benefits from this beautiful, beautiful product of nature. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll like, share, and subscribe. Bye for now.